As we prepare for the two teams to come onto the field for what is a crucial game, especially for the Balmain Tigers. But of course, it's a very emotional day for Paul Fatty Vaughton as he leads his team onto Brookvale Oval for the last time in maroon and white. He's been a great player here at Brookvale, but next year he'll be in the red, white and blue of Eastern Suburbs. The Manly team out on the paddock, which has dried out quite remarkably during the last 3 hours. The Manly line-up this afternoon: Williams at fullback, Townsend, Shearer, O'Connor and Burke the three-quarters, Lyons at 5'8" and Tuvey at half. Lockford, Hasler, Cunningham and Paul Vaughton the second rowers, Vaughan, Cochrane and Daly up front, and the coach Alan Thompson. Paul Vaughton on Brookvale Oval for the last time in Manly jumper. Laurie Nichols urges the Balmain Tigers out onto the park. Steve Roach warming up. The Balmain side, Jack at fullback, O'Brien, Brasher, Courier and Grant the three-quarters, Neil at 5'8" and Freeman at half. Podgy comes in at Lockford in place of the injured Wayne Pearce, Maguire and Surin in the second rowers, Edmed and Roach the prop, Benny Elias the hooker and captain, and coach Warren Ryan. Benny Elias has a fantastic record as a skipper here at Balmain, laying down the law. Had a mighty game against Western Suburbs last week. He's back to his best form. Watch for a big game from him this afternoon. Michael Podgy has big shoes to fill, but he really has filled a lot of shoes this year very capably. Remember, half the season he's played in the centres. And a very emotional group of Manly supporters at the back of the southern grandstand. And the sign says it all for Fatty and Tomo, and of course Tomo, Alan Thompson. As Balmain kick off, the referee this afternoon is Eddie Ward, with Manly defending that southern end in the first half. But the ground, quite remarkably, about 4 or 5 hours ago, was very heavy, very muddy, but has dried out quite amazingly during that period. In fact, during the under-21s, the President's Cup match, we thought this game would be played really on a very slippery surface, but John feared it's quite good now for playing football.
Yeah, it's drying out all the time, Dave. There's quite a bit of sand out there in the field, and I think both sides are full of class players. Balmain's been playing to their capacity. If Manly can do that today, it should be a great game. Back to you, Dave.
First kick of the afternoon in general play from Williams, and Jack makes a mess of it. Gee, he almost made a mess of it the second time when he went to pick it up. Cochrane and Hasler defenders. Grant.
David, they're using the wet weather footballs out there. In the under-21s today, they went out with a normal pigskin, and it was a little bit slippery, but the players were slipping and sliding just 3 hours ago. Now, the wet weather balls really make the difference.
Balmain winning the President's Cup 22-18. And reserve made with Noel Quill coming onto the field with about 25 minutes remaining in the match, really turning the game on its ear. Manly in the end winning 16-6. As Elias's kick goes sailing out over the touchline on the full.
There's Benny Elias. Under some pressure there from Cliff Lyons, getting out of the marker position and steered out by a couple of metres.
That win was vital for Manly in reserve grade, and with Brokenshire also coming on, they're going to be a very hard outfit to beat come semi-final time. Shearer's almost skirted completely around all of that defence before he got his pass in the end away to Townsend. O'Connor. Cyrano and Podgy to do the work. Lyons. Vaughton cuts out one. It comes across to Burke. Now Burke's got plenty of space in front of him. Jack's there. What a great defensive fullback Gary Jack is. Good tackle. Vaughton, that looked to be, well, referee said let's play on. Gee, that was almost a knock on, wasn't it?
Well, I think it went backward from his hands and then bounced off the turf board.
Lyons, gee, they're not really passing the ball that well, Manly, but they're moving it pretty well. Hard to put foot in your mouth. They finally do something wrong. Gee, you could hear Gary Jack feel that. He's copped a knee there. Accidentally, you could hear that from here. But Gary Jack really did cop one then. And Michael O'Connor's you can see Michael O'Connor was quite concerned about it. immediately you could hear Jack groan, and immediately Michael O'Connor went down, so you can see him still. Now, Michael O'Connor knew that the player was hurt.
Yes, Gary Jack had no alternative but to go down on top of the ball, and in come the knees from Michael O'Connor, and that looked very dangerous. That is a very painful blow.
Especially, of course, when Jack copped him only a few weeks ago when he played against Newcastle. A bad pass. Now, what can James Grant do? Grant tackled after he kicked that through, but it's going to be a play brought back to the quarter line. Well, the referees let that go on forever before finally something's going to be... I think it's going to be a penalty to Manly back over here towards the centre of the field.
They called Bruce Maguire out for a caution over some incident that must have happened in the back plate. There's the ball bouncing out towards the touchline, and James Grant trying to tow it through, but the incident was in the back plate.
Certainly, the referee let play go on, but I suppose he let it go on for so long because of the long pass that didn't find its mark with Burke.
Yes, good refereeing by Eddie Ward to allow the advantage to flow because Manly had half a chance, and in fact Matt Burke could have been away if he'd got a better pass. Here's the incident which led to the penalty, and look for Jeff Tuvey, I think it is, who gets taken out in the back play, back there on the 22 line. Bruce Maguire pushing him out of the play. Wasn't so much a violent bit of play.
The kick from O'Connor is high, it's straight, it's over the black dot, and Manly are leading Balmain by 2 points to 0. Tuvey, I should say Hasler. Hasler was going to give it to Tuvey. On the quarter line, Hasler, a very elusive man. Williams, Tuvey. The bear hug in the end coming from Sirinen. In fact, it was Edmed. The crowd now appealing for a penalty, and referee Eddie Ward says, here's one inside the 5. Well, the crowd have been screaming for it,
and Benny Elias is being called over here, and I think the referee's going to tell him, get your players back on side. The previous tackle, when the crowd screamed, I don't know that the referee was incorrect because there was a hesitation in the play the ball, and Balmain all swept up. They certainly came up very quickly, but there was a hesitation in the play the ball, and that was why they were blatantly up so apparently quickly. But that time, with the crowd telling the referee to have a look, he did, and Andy Courier was caught up inside the 5, and not much doubt about it.
O'Connor adds the 2 points for Manly. And so Manly, after 10 minutes, has skipped away to lead by 4 points to 0. Seems obviously it's a lot wetter down this end of the field than it is the other end. Lyons' attempted intercept doesn't come off, 6 to go, and Jack brings it out now. Jack, gee, almost got through. Only good defence from Daly in the end that got him around the bootlaces. Maguire. Just wondering in the second half whether Warren Ryan's tactics will beat. As they get a penalty here, Balmain, kick the ball deep and try and keep Manly pinned down in this very damp area at the northern end of the ground.
And here's a penalty awarded against Paul Borton, interfering in the tackle after it was completed. Wouldn't let go of the legs of Maguire.
Penalties going Balmain's way. But none so far in kicking distance, whereas Manly have had 2. Almost in front of the 6, and O'Connor's put them over for Manly to lead 4-0. Edmed. Elias. That's not a good pass. O'Brien. Roach. Good run from Roach. Last tackle against Balmain. Elias. Thinking about the field goal, goes on his own. The pass comes to McNeil. Over the top, Courier. Courier gets it away to Grant, and Grant will score. Well, that try's come from nothing. The try has come from nothing. But what about the genius of the little man in a dummy half?
Elias got himself into trouble when he started to run, and then suddenly managed to get back out of it, kept the ball alive. Balmain have come up with a try. A little bit of a jink on the inside has brought Matt Burke in. Now here's Elias. He decides that he'll have a run himself, gets halfway through, but gets back out of trouble, gets it to Neil, and watch Matt Burke comes in when he thought Courier was going to have a go himself, and that left James Grant open.
Yes, in fact, of course, he was one off the ruck, Elias, but he did well to keep it alive. But watch also Burke slip over. And that really pulled him out of the defensive line as well. Here's Courier now. See Burke slip over, and that in the end gave Grant the room to score. His 7th try for the year and his first season of rugby league. An important one that, to level the scores at 4-all.
And that try has come somewhat against the run of play, or what we've seen so far, 20 minutes.
Well, Manly have been by far the better team, and it's 4-all. Andy Courier, 2 metres in from touch, about 25 metres out. Not an easy kick. Here he comes. Can he convert the Grant try? Looks got it, looks got it. It's a great kick for Courier. Balmain 6, Manly 4. Well, if you saw his second half against Western Suburbs last week, you just know how magical the little man can be. Vaughan, out it comes, Lyons, quick hands to Vaughton. If he can get it to O'Connor, there's something on here. Goes to Burke. Burke looking on the inside. Roach was there. Now here's Gary Jack. It's out on the full anyway, but the touch judge has come in. Well, one would think of what's the touch judge come in for? O'Connor might have taken someone out. The penalty's gone to Balmain. I couldn't imagine the touch judge coming in as the penalty was going to Manly's way because they had the football.
Michael O'Connor draws his man here to get the pass away, which I didn't actually see him take anyone out. Oh, there it is. Yes, Gary Freeman just virtually pushing past him. And off balance, Matt Burke tries to kick ahead and it goes out on the full.
But still a difficult kick. But an important one. 3 minutes to go in the first half. Courier. There's the kick. It looked pretty good. It's another great kick from Courier. 2 more points for Balmain. And Balmain are leading Manly Warringah by 8 points to 4. Well, he's just coming back down to sit down on the bench. He's certainly standing up and all stripped, ready to go on. Vaughan. Intercept from Elias. Let's go down to the sideline and John Pearce.
Warren Ryan's pretty happy with the lead, like all coaches, but he's a bit concerned about Manly. He knows that they're going to move the ball around and make his defence work. Alan Thompson wants his side to concentrate a little bit more, and he still thinks there's some chances down the edge of the field. Should be a great game in the second half.
Well, now Maguire's been called out for something that happened, obviously, in the tackle there with Vaughan. Didn't quite see it. It must have been a little elbow or something, was it?
The second caution for the game for Bruce Maguire. It looks like he just presented the tackle and
it was on Tuvey.
Presented the tackle and used his elbow to rub Tuvey's head into the ground.
Funny aside, here's O'Connor moving in with the shot at penalty goal and looks good. It's there, 3 points. O'Connor 3 from 3. And Balmain lead Manly by 8 points to 6, 5 minutes into the second half. Elias, you heard the cry, watch him. Here's Roach. Roach slips the pass out the back. Grant, very boggy area of the ground. Here's a chance, Popsy. Maguire's gone without it. Another mistake from Bruce Maguire. Last tackle against Balmain. Here's Elias. Up with the kick. It's a high testing bomb. Shearer and Bracker. Bracker plucked it out of the air, or has Williams got it? I think both of them missed it in the end. Or has he claimed that Williams actually managed to get it? I think he's claimed that Williams got it. The ball finished up on the deck. Let's have a look.
Well, that's courage to stand your ground and to manage to pull it down. Courage and concentration, and very nearly gathered out of his arms by Brasher.
When you have a look at the replay, you can see, well, I wasn't quite sure who had it. And there's Maguire pinching the football.
This time it's Mal Cochran who's let it
go. And now Maguire's still going. Back on the inside to Freeman. Freeman's almost there. Good tackle from O'Connor. Penalty. And he has to get time in the sin bin, surely. Professional foul like that. Phil Daly in the sin bin for 5.
Phil Daly took the odds to it, thought, well, I've got to try and stop them here. They're going to score a try if I let it go. So he held on and interfered with Gary Freeman, prevented him playing the ball cleanly. Gary Freeman played it up. Daly's 5 minutes in the sin bin.
Yes, the replacement in the Balmain side, 42. Sean Edwards is on for Michael Pobsy. Now, this will be interesting because Pobsy's been playing lock forward. It'll be interesting to see where Sean Edwards has slotted into the side. But he'll be an asset, good attacking player, as David mentioned.
It's sitting up on the sand. There's the kick from Courier, successful. 2 more points to Balmain. Balmain are leading Manly by 10 points to 6. O'Connor down in the back play, injured. Tuvey, Hasler. Hasler's gone through a hole. Hasler, he's got away from the hole. Sheridan just managed to ankle tap him from behind. Townsend back on the inside. Here's Paul Borton. But my word, Sheridan's ankle tap may well have prevented a Manly try. The cut-out pass. Here's Cochrane in amongst the backs. Cochrane.
Darryl Williams was on the fly and he would have gone straight through, but Cochrane decided to dummy.
Here's Bourne. Lovely ball from Tuvey. Tragically, the trainers are called for a stretcher for O'Connor. Daly. 12 metres out from Shearer. If they move it quickly, they've got some space on this side of the field. The little kick from Lyons, and in the end, it's a try. No penalty. The referee says he's offside. Burke offside, says the referee.
And Matt Burke, if anything, he appeared to be interfered with James Grant on his way to that ball. He thinks he was definitely onside. It's been the second time Manly have called back. Well, there was the replay. Maybe he was just a fraction offside as he tried to set him. There's Grant interfering with him before he gets to the ball. The referee calling it back. Offside in front of the kicker, and Burke was really charging through.
Well, was he offside or wasn't he? As Michael O'Connor is carried from the field, and that is a sad sight. Edwards. And a great defensive effort by Manly in the second half, or really by both sides. They both turned over possession a lot of times. Both teams have tackled extremely well. Here's Roach. Roach steaming under the ball. He's got it away to Bracker, but the pass is ruled forward.
That's the second time Steve Roach has received the ball, which has been called forward. And look at the eyes. This one is a touch and go one by the referee. I thought this could have been play on. Let's have a look. Steve Roach on the burst, charges through them. Great run. Was this pass okay or not? Well, it might have just gone forward. So referee Eddie Waters really coming through with flying colours today.
That's another crucial decision that was dead right. Hasler, Shearer. Shearer, what an elusive customer he is, and hasn't he had a big game too. Dwyer. David Brooks comes on. He's a noted defender, David Brooks. Bourne takes it ahead. Maybe that's what he's done. Ryan must have there. Take the pressure off Steve Roach a bit. Hasler. The long ball comes to Shearer. Now what can he do this time? Throws a pass. Somehow Hasler got back there to collect it. That's gone through the legs of Cunningham. Oh, and Townsend knocks it on. I'll tell you, some of these players will be very happy when the full-time whistle is blown because there's been a lot of running on a soft paddock this afternoon. Look at this, Townsend in the end, he has it, and then it dropped out.
Started to lose before the ball arrived. The two sides have such great attacking skills, but they haven't really played anywhere near their ability because of their poor handling.
Haven't been allowed to either, mate.
No, well, the defence has been good. I was about to say they've given plenty in defence. Just let themselves down in attack.
Great tackle.
Great tackle. Susie won this. Neil.
Brasher, another good tackle. Clock stopped with 5 minutes to go. Elias on his own. Sheridan in a dummy half. Roach just charges ahead. Can't get the pass away to Freeman this time. Last tackle. Now there'll be a shot at field goal. Courier goes the blind. Puts the little kick in. It looks too long, or is it? In the end, it's gone across the dead ball line. Salati just managed to get there and play will restart with a line drop out, but Grant went ever so close to scoring.
A well-judged kick here by Andy Courier, popping it into the in-goal area, and he looks as if he might have been a chance if not taken out by Borton there. Salati does well to at least get to the ball, even if he didn't gather it in.
That's the sort of pressure that Balmain want, because it means that they get the ball back with the line drop out. They run it back into Manly's territory. O'Brien, Freeman, Thrasher.
Balmain know this game is just so important to get closer to wrapping up that third spot. Tiernan, after Cronulla's lost their main danger really is Canberra. But if Balmain keep winning, well, that's all they have to do.
Great test of character too, because they haven't played well this afternoon, or as well as they can, against a team that always gives them a hard time. It's not over yet as Roach charges ahead. Last tackle against Balmain. Edwards, Freeman, Neal. Out it comes again to Courier. Courier can keep it alive. Not a good pass, but Grant picks it up. And Grant just takes the tackle, and that's a handover. And now that's a penalty because he threw the ball away. Now that's silly stuff.
Yes, a simple handover is turned into a penalty.
They've gained much territory out of it.
Well, in fact, looking at the replay, it did look as if James Grant had some reason to object because it was kicked away by Manly.
Yeah. You can't blame Eddie Ward for a mistake. He's had a pretty good game.
Six more tackles there as Benny Alive tried to rake the ball back in unsuccessfully.
This is Manly's last throw of the dice, you'd reckon. Shearer running across field. If they don't put him on the deck, you'll make mincemeat of them. Vaughton. Shearer's gone straight through. Away it comes. Kubi's gone without it. Williams picks it up. Back it comes. Cullum. Out it comes to Townsend. Townsend, can he beat Gary Jack? He's beaten Gary Jack. And Freeman comes across. Oh, he scores! He scored in the corner. Townsend has scored. It's 12-all. A 10-all.
What a run from Townsend. Manly keeping the ball alive. They finally managed to crack the defence. Balmain have held onto them for so long, but this time they keep the ball alive and they get a result. Shearer was the one who started it all. Look at this superb run. He is so fast off the mark. He's brought down by Edwards. The pass, the idea of it was simply just to keep the movement going. Williams looms up and grabs hold of it. On it goes out to Townsend. At this point, the cover looks to have him covered. But he pushes away from Gary Jack. Grant can't get to him. And then the final tackle from Gary Freeman, successful, but doesn't stop the try. That was a great run from first of all Shearer, but the final run from Townsend really came out of nothing.
So here it is. Williams picks it up. He gets it on Cullum, and Cullum throws the pass. Now, first of all, it's Jack who's pushed off. Thrasher gives chase, but can't catch him. Freeman gets there, but not quickly enough.
And James Grant hasn't looked as fast as he has recently today.
So here's Cochrane from on the quarter line, a metre in from touch, and he's missed it. The full-time bell will go in about a minute to a minute and a half time. So what will Balmain do? Try and work it down to get the ball and put the field goal up.
I'm just thinking, David, a draw 1 point is probably as good as a win for Balmain, isn't it? When you look at that position on the ladder, that extra point. I mean, well, I suppose you look at Canberra. No, it's not, is it?
Well, they still have to win next week.
Yeah, of course. Steve Roach is off.
If they win next week, well, they're still in third position.
But Canberra on 24 points.
Balmain would go to 28, and Balmain would finish up on 29.
27, 29, you're right. Just thinking about that for and against record of Canberra's.
Vaughton. Good tackle from Brooks, who's on the field for Roach. Cochrane, tackled by Brooks and Sirenen. The full-time siren to go at any minute, or any moment.
Dale Shearer's come in from out the wide.
And there it goes! It's all over. Balmain has to beat Penrith next week to make sure of a spot in the top three.
Balmain with only dragging one.